Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 2. Yes, it is back. As always, MMA Reloaded, and we are live. What we got in 2016 was one of the most poetic years in MMA history. I could fucking watch 2016 over and over and over again in MMA. I got on Instagram, I did the best of 2016, right? The best of 2016, fighter of the year, knockout of the year, submission of the year, You can check that out, the nominees on Instagram. I did a top 15, so top 15 nominees of each category are listed on Instagram right now. I'm also live on Facebook nowadays. And a lot has happened, since season 1, trying to expand the industry, So, let me get down to it. I ain't gonna waste no one's time right now. 2016, we saw, everything. You saw everything possible, man. You see, the UFC had its 200th event. UFC saw one man hold 2 championships at the same time. And we'll get to that. Number 3, the UFC had legends retire in 2016. Number 4, the UFC's Nevada State Athletic Commission played a big role in 2016. All this bullshit, the pay of the fighters, featherweight, all this stuff I'm gonna lay on you right now. The first episode of season 2. So, alright, let me get down to where I started off. So, UFC in 2016, I have to say, I have to talk about one guy first, Jon Jones. Actually, Jon Jones. Let's start off there. Jon Jones made the headlines in more than one way. There were a lot of headlines, a lot of press surrounding him before with drug use and hit and runs and all this shit, assaults, fights, this and that. When he was gonna come back, no one was sure. But he finally did. Even now he's in shit. One thing that Jon Jones never did, that we never expected, was Jon Jones to be stripped of the title. Because, of course, he was. But no one ever expected it. Not unless you lot can fucking see the future, But what happened when Jon Jones got stripped off the title, the light heavyweight division, it's like, when you close the curtains, it gets pulled right open, and the light heavyweight division went from this to this, opened right up, and Anthony Johnson and Daniel Cormier capped it off with a great title fight. One of the greatest title fights, I think, because it was back and forth until the finish, and back, forth. Both guys battered and bruised, empty, right on the empty line near the gas tank. Daniel Cormier got the finish, and today is the champion. Jon Jones will return 2017. Jon Jones is set to return. Also, and the NSAC, Nevada State Athletic Commission, stripped Jon Jones off that title because of, all these failed drug tests, and when he was set to rematch Daniel Cormier, I don't know if you remember this, he was set to rematch Daniel Cormier. He got on the scale, and failed drug, and did not compete. You see, so these things, they're fucking. So 2016 basically fucked Jon Jones up. Let me tell you that right now. Say if he came back against OSP, barely beat OSP. Let's talk number 2. The UFC milestone in the UFC's history is the 200th event happened, in 2016, and it culminated with a beautiful, beautiful card, one of the greatest cards I think ever put to paper. From paper to action. And that's exactly what it was. It was definitely fucking action. Cain Velasquez was a fucking ninja against Travis Brown. Sage Northcutt, showed resilience. It showed that he ain't just some spiky pretty boy. If you saw that event, Sage Northcutt was trapped in that armbar by Enrique Marin. Yeah, you lot need to see that. Because I don't care what you think about Sage. That young man can go hard, with anyone. Also, UFC 200, Amanda Nunes beat Miesha Tate, and I think led to Miesha Tate's demotivation, led to her desire going, Miesha Tate, I will talk about a bit later on when I talk about, legends retiring in 2016 and that, but Amanda Nunes now at UFC 207, coming up in about 3 days, will take on the greatest women's fighter of all time, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, after the loss to Holly Holm, suffered a lot of criticism because, she couldn't get her feet back off the ground. No, she couldn't get her feet back off that ground. She couldn't go for it. She was weeping and whining, moaning, bitching, complaining, all that, fam. I said, my theory is, if you're a fighter, you fight for a living, Alright, cool, you might consider yourself the greatest of all time. You might have dominated the division since the inception. But, fucker, you're always gonna lose, bro. All the greats lose, man. Randy Couture lost to Lyoto Machida, got his head kicked off, if you remember that. Chuck Liddell got knocked out by Rich Franklin. Anderson Silva got knocked out by Chris Weidman. It's just a circle of life, Let's talk about now the retired legends. These guys I loved throughout my career, watching MMA, analyzing it, just absolutely fucking blew my mind. And, start off, the first guy I remember seeing retire was, who was the first guy I remember seeing retire? The most recent guy I remember seeing retire, Miesha Tate. Oh, yes, before Miesha Tate. First guy I remember seeing retire was Mark Munoz. If you remember, he got his victory at UFC Philippines in the fight night. Mark Munoz basically said, not words, but his actions said, I don't care how big, how tough, how small, how big, how fat, small, slim, buff, whatever you are, you can always be beaten. And Mark Munoz proved that throughout his career. His wrestling, his power was absolutely fucking amazing, right? And he could control a fight. When Mark Munoz fought Lyoto Machida, he got starstruck, boy. He got starstruck. They're best friends. You never put best friends in an octagon together. Lyoto Machida didn't want the fight to end, but it ended. It ended with a head kick by Lyoto Machida. Number 2, Kyle Noak retired. Kyle Noak revolutionized Australian MMA. He made that sport popular in Australia. Australia ain't really known for their MMA fighters, but he made Australia believe in him in that octagon, and it inspired young Australian mixed martial artists like Alex Chambers I don't know if you remember, on The Ultimate Fighter, competing in the women's division. You know, it's by her, you know, and it's by, you know, a lot of Australian, you know, now Australian fighters starting to come in. You know, also, apart from Kyle Noak, Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, this was one of the most emotional things to me, because he retired after his middleweight championship fight with Michael Bisping. That fight was one of the best fights I would ever watch in my whole life, because of what it was and what it stood for and who Dan Henderson is and was and what's done for the sport. That fight, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched it, you fucking have to, because it is one of the greatest fights I've ever seen in my life. You know. Next, have to say, Frank Mir. Frank Mir, now, what I saw from Frank Mir throughout his career was his absolute talent. This guy started becoming cocky because he knew that no one could match him with skill on the ground, and you know, this guy was, when he returned in the middle of this year, he knocked out Todd Duffy and he knocked out Bigfoot, both in the first round, you know. One punch, that's it. But then he was walk-off KO'd by Mark Hunt, and that was it. You know, you try to go for your last hurrah, and you know, it don't always work out the way you want it to. Tough luck. The other guy, you know, another fighter I saw retire is another man I consider to be one of my favorites, Uriah Faber. Uriah kind of taught a lot of people that, you know, no matter how old you are, how old you get, you know, fighting for titles, you know, being a legend, fighting at the big time main events, has no age. Has no age limit, I should say. Uriah Faber was headlining events in his late 30s, you know, competing against the best of the best of the best, you know, with a body of his, although chiseled from granite, had taken a lot of punishment in his career. You know, I don't know if you remember the leg kicks from hell with Jose Aldo, and, you know, the Mike Brown trilogy. Jesus Christ, 2 fights, that was brutal shit going on right there. You know, you have to respect Uriah Faber. You have no choice but to. Soft-spoken, hard hit. His submissions are absolutely fucking fantastic. Now, the mentor at Team Alpha Male, where Cody Garbrandt will also go to UFC 207 as a challenger against Dominic Cruz. You'll also see that in 3 days. UFC Bantamweight Championship. Boy, that is going down. Wait, oh my god, this card. 2 fights. 2 championship fights. And it's not even the fighters. It's the magnitude. Come on, man. You know, the greatest women's fighter returning, possibly to dethrone the Brazilian Lioness. Cody Garbrandt possibly dethroning the best bantamweight to ever grace MMA, Dominic Cruz. You know, there is going to be a fight, and a fight. Fucking hell, it's going to be a war, my man. Well, you know, as we continue the journey, and MMA 2017 looks bright for MMA, it looks bright for the stars. I want to talk about fighter pay. You know, a lot of my videos in season 1 were me complaining and bitching about the fighters pay and the featherweight division, but it's fucking true. Fighters pay, you're getting paid millions of pounds. Well, in my country it's pounds, obviously, I'm in England. Yeah. Millions of dollars, pounds, euros, rupees, whatever, man. You're getting paid a lot of it. I see no reason for an MMA fighter to question their job security. When you work for the biggest MMA organization in a world like the UFC, the second best, like Bellator, I have no reason why MMA fighters or even UFC fighters specifically complain and complain and complain, you know, to the point where it gets to setting up your own MMA union, the Fighters Union. Guys like TJ Dillashaw, guys like George St. Pierre, led by George St. Pierre. Led by George St. Pierre. When you're the most sought after welterweight on your return, why the fuck would you start up a union? Fam, that doesn't make sense to me. You know, that doesn't mean they're done with the UFC. You know, and then if you want to talk NSAC, I talked about that. You know, featherweight division, I don't know what the fuck's going on with the featherweight title. No one wants to be a 145-pounder anymore. You know, Conor McGregor forfeit the featherweight championship after beating Eddie Alvarez. Now Jose Aldo says that he's not going to fight Max Holloway. That he's going to end up fighting Conor McGregor for the interim lightweight championship. Bruv, are you fucking stupid? In what world in your head is that actually going to happen? You think you're going to overtake guys who have worked their asses off at 155, beating the best of the best? You know, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson. You think you're going to overtake them? I don't think so. You know, I don't think so at all. You know, you ain't shit, my man. At 155, you may be the greatest featherweight of all time, one of the best pound for pounders. Stay at that division, carry it like you was doing. You were carrying it for more than half a dozen years. You know, carry the division, man. If you carry it, you will gain more respect. I don't know if you're watching it. Bruv, is Jose Aldo even watching this? What the fuck? This is something that a lot of guys, you know, get pissed off about in MMA if you're a fan, because, you know, you don't like seeing a division go down the way the featherweight division is. I mean, think about Max Holloway, man. This guy is probably going to leave as well, because when the fuck is he going to get a title shot? There's no stable division at 145. When Chad Mendes returns, what the hell's going to happen to him? When Anthony Pettis gets fit again and returns from suspension after missing weight, what's going to happen to him? Are they going to fight for championships? You know? Is the featherweight title going to be held up again? Anthony Pettis versus Holloway too? I don't think so. Dana White and the UFC need to make a decision. They need to make a decision quickly. So, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed first episode of season 1. You know, shit, I've been going on for a long time. I know people don't want to watch 18+ minute videos, but trust me, they're worth watching. No filters, man. No filters. In the comfort of my own home. No filters. No nothing. Just a real man spitting real things. Thank you, and check me out. Not only here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Peace.